I'd like to introduce ourselves since I'm the oldest. This is my sister. My youngest sister is Diana Blakeney, and my brother, Sid Picht, and I'm Casey Thompson.
We're located about 4 miles out of the city of Philomath on what is known as Alsea Highway, also known as Highway 34. Farm is about 171 acres. 140 of that is timbered, and the rest is in fields and where the house is.
My grandmother was the start of this. She immigrated to the U.S. in 1916 as a 16-year-old. And widowed with insurance policy, she purchased this farm. With 4 children, she had raised them up, and they married and went off to their own things. But my mother ended up working for the U.S. Forest Service and also for the Oregon State University School of Forestry. And with all of that, and knowing with this great forest that she had here as a part of the farm, that she began to get more and more involved in terms of managing what she considered a family treasure, which of course it is.
I think most of us think of our mother as very visionary. So she found Scott Ferguson and began having the farm professionally managed. And together they came up with a concept that has been in some settings somewhat controversial, and that is the uneven aged tree management. So when our mother died in 2010, all of us were living in different states and we were all still working. But the management of the farm then landed in our laps. Now since then, 7 or 8 years had passed and we retired one by one. And my brother moved to the farm, and I live in Corvallis.
I still live in Colorado at a ranch there.
So we are now a little more up to speed and have gotten that way in large part because of the memories that our older sisters had of their growing up on the farm, our memories of the farm and what our mother, told us and what our grandparents told us. We've worked on having a lot of diversity in the types of trees, the ages of trees, emphasizing diverse structures so that animal habitat would be enhanced. We are lucky enough to have a large amount of Kincaid's lupin, which is the preferred habitat for the Fender's blue butterfly, a species that was once thought to be extinct, but has now been found to be alive and thriving in the Willamette Valley. We are working with the Marys River Watershed Council in enhancing habitat for the cutthroat trout, in putting in large wood placements, much like the beavers would do in the olden days.
Planning is what it's all about when you come right down to it. Now, when the plan hits reality, changes have to be made. But to have that plan first, having that in our hands in 2010, enabled us to go ahead and go into the future with it.
Oregon State Extension has been absolutely outstanding, and the small woodland owners have been amazing in their ability to help us and to show us what they're doing on their properties. And so we've had a lot of help along the way. We've had a number of tours here, and of course we're always look forward to having people here because we learn something every time someone comes through.
As we look forward to the future, when we are gone, that we look forward for our kids to carry on this legacy.
Responsible management of forest lands is important, and our mother, starting back in the late 50s, early 60s, did it right, and the professionals say so.
The certification is a validation of our mother's vision and goal, and she held such a high standard that really the certification was just secondary, but it's very important to have it recognized, and it's an acknowledgement of the high standard that she held.